I found the videos on the ADA really interesting, just because these videos and this cause is something that's really close to my family's heart. My mom has been a special education, uh, something in special education for 30 something years of her life. She's always worked within schools, and now she does private counseling with those kinds of families. And then my brother and my sister both have worked at camps for disabled children. And then I have always just, like, during Sunday school, I've worked with the special education section, and as well as just other classes. So this is just something that's always been, like, in my family and very present. And to kind of hear the thoughts and how it went into process was really interesting, just because in the first video, 30 years after ADA was put into place, I thought the most interesting key point of that, to me personally, was that he said there, with a level of privilege comes accessibility to ADA. And I didn't ever think about it like that, how, like, he was saying ADA does the bare minimum, and how they put, like, the curb is only cut out in one section, so he has to go all the way through. But he's also very fortunate because he's able to, like, drive a car and have access to his house very easily. And I was like, that's really true, as parents with kids with disabilities sometimes can't afford those types of things, and it's a lot harder on those families. So I didn't really see it as, I always had thought, like, oh, ADA has been so good to the people, but I didn't realize that they're really just meeting the bare minimum, and that if you have, again, like, the privilege part of what we've been discussing in class really came through. And it's like, if you have accessibility and resources, you get more things. And I thought that was interesting to think about. And then the Marca Bristow video was interesting. I just really loved the certain quotes in it, and how they said, you don't have to change, but society has to change. And I really do think that, like, society has to be more willing to accept the disabled and let them in and give them jobs and give them opportunities, because they also said society built barriers, but as soon as you break those down and give equal resources, they're the people with disabilities are going to break those barriers and meet and exceed those expectations you set. My family is very lucky to know a Paralympian athlete, like one of the fastest in the world, Tatiana McFadden, and she has always been so adamant on doing things by herself. And if we, like, see her out at certain functions, she's always, like, willing to do things and not just, like, sit around and take it. And her sister's also a Paralympian, so they both are very, like, proactive, and I've been lucky to, like, see how they are react. And again, they have a lot of privilege, so I know it's different. But also working with the kids and my siblings working at camp, we've seen those who aren't as privileged also being able to meet, and they break those expectations you have. As soon as you set a standard or a limit, they're gonna beat that, because if you give them the stuff they can, because those kids are incredible. I love working with those because they're just so loving and they want to do it. And I guess that ties in perfect with the Capitol crawl. I was really shocked to not even know this happened. I really wish I had learned about it in high school, or even, like, seen about it, but I never knew it was a thing. But I really, like, I love Jennifer. Like, all of a sudden I was like, wow, this person's cool. And I just think, like, she embodies what I've always seen in people with disabilities, and how they don't do things for themselves, but they do it for other disabled people, and they want to represent the whole generation. And Jennifer was like, I got to the top of the steps, and I knew I did it for my whole generation, and, like, I represented everyone. And I just, like, know that that's just how those kind of people are. They don't see themselves, they're never ever selfish, and they love to do things. And when I work with the little kids at church, they're always, like, willing to do things for other people, and they're willing to share. And they're in a different atmosphere, but at the same time, it's just, they're always so willing to help and they're just so loving. And I think it's interesting because people don't usually think it would be that way, but they are, and I just really the ADA is something that I didn't realize they were doing the bare minimum, and I want to know, are we supposed to break the bare minimum and start doing more, or are people waiting, and do you have to wait until there's a problem? Because if we're waiting till there's a problem, there's probably a lot of problems out there that we need to fix for these people, because these people really deserve all the equal opportunities they can get